Coming up in the news, the 2022 GB Business Outlook commencing today. Also, the Minister of Health says the state-of-the-art hospital on Grand Bahama is in the works. And the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge soon to make their royal visit. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Jamila Mizik. Thank you so much for joining us. The 23rd Annual Grand Bahama Business Outlook commencing today under the theme Beyond Growth and Into Recovery. Organizers say today's unique agenda was designed to clear the path and hoist a flag of hope for Grand Bahama. The keynote speaker, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, giving a clear indication of what the government has been focusing on with regards to Grand Bahama since taking office. Rumiko Knowles has more.
The Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable I. Chester Cooper, opening his keynote address by telling viewers that Grand Bahama's success is contingent upon several crucial moving parts. He says the time has come for all to unite to rebuild. The DPM shares concrete plans and commitments for the Grand Bahama of tomorrow and notes that there is some good news regarding the sale of the Grand Lucayan Resort.
We've invited 5 bidders to present to the board of Lucayan Renewal Holdings Limited this coming Sunday, after which we intend to enter into exclusive negotiations with one of them for the sale and redevelopment of the resort. We have set a deadline for the conclusion of the negotiations. We have a firm date early in April to set that the agreement and the conclusion of the discussions to be over.
500 jobs will be created during the construction phase of redevelopment. The DPM adds that the government anticipates that once the sale closes, a redeveloped Awa Lucaia would come fully on stream by 2024. However, the property can see some aspects opened before then, adding additional growth. But he says for Grand Bahama to take advantage of the projects, a world-class airport is needed, one that is welcoming and affordable.
With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to announce that the request for proposals for offers to design, build, finance, and manage the Grand Bahama International Airport will begin on March 28th. We are looking for an investor, a partner, who will participate in a PPP to create a world-class airport and the stunning entryway into Grand Bahama that the people of Grand Bahama deserve.
Additionally, the DPM reconfirmed the government's support for the Carnival Grand Port. He says the project will begin soon. Similar to Grand Lucayan, the government anticipates up to 500 jobs created at the peak of construction. And as minister responsible for investments, he shares what he believes is needed to increase investments on the island.
What we believe is needed for Grand Bahama is a focus on investment that smooths the process from the investor's interest to the government and the port's approval. We often hear the frustration from those who have to deal with both the port and the central government. With that in mind, we're looking now at a model for revamping the BIA as it relates to Grand Bahama, and we will do so generally.
And as the minister responsible for tourism, he says they are working closely with the Ministry of Grand Bahama and stakeholders. He adds that they are actively engaged in high-level discussions with the Port Authority to address many of the issues that confront Grand Bahamians. Cooper adds that the government recognizes the potential of the blue economy in Grand Bahama. He says the island is well positioned to capitalize further on the maritime industry as perhaps its #1 industry.
In summary, Grand Bahama can be a long-term sustainable hub for the global maritime industry. With the deep harbor, the shipyard, and additional investments to come, we expect that this segment, along with the activities generated as a result of the new airport hub, will make Grand Bahama one of the most robust logistic and transshipment centers.
The Deputy Prime Minister says he is confident that within the next 2 years, there will be a dramatic shift in Grand Bahama through the multifaceted focus of the government for the island. Ramiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Now, Minister of Grand Bahama and Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, also addressing the GB Business Outlook today. Moxie outlining a number of projects on tap for the revitalization of Grand Bahama Island while encouraging a partnership between the government and the local business community. The long-awaited Carnival Cruise Port project will soon come to fruition. Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, making the announcement during the 2022 Grand Bahama Business Outlook. Moxie noting that they have been working in partnership with Carnival Corporation on finalizing all required permits and approvals to start the Grand Bahama Port project, adding that Carnival has shared that they are committed to developing a Bahamian experience in this new port.
This project will provide opportunities for many entrepreneurs and employment for the Bahamian people, both during the construction period, which is expected to last for 2.5 years, and during the operation of the port, once open, which is now scheduled for November 2024. We have made significant headway in our discussions and are close to finalizing all that is needed to start the project. And with that said, we are now happy to say that we are now targeting a groundbreaking ceremony this coming May 2022.
Moxie noting that the Davis Cooper administration is keenly aware that the revitalization of Grand Bahama is not only crucial for its residents, but also essential for the future development of the Bahamas as a whole.
With its infrastructure, unique composition, and location, Grand Bahama Island has unlimited potential to be a place where both industry and tourism can thrive. We unapologetically support, with a degree of urgency, the vision for Grand Bahama as the home of maritime and logistics, home of events and entertainment, and home of innovation for the Bahamas.
She says since coming to office, this administration has had numerous high-level meetings with the Grand Bahama Port Authority with respect to issues impacting the island of Grand Bahama, and they are working with the GBPA on environmental bylaws that will give teeth to the vexing issue of dilapidated structures. Moxie noting that partnerships for development are important for the growth of the island.
We are not in competition. We should be working together. This is why CoLab, Partnerships for Development, a new unit within the Ministry for Grand Bahama, was created. In our Blueprint for Change, we pledged our commitment to execution and to create an enabling environment. In line with this, the Prime Minister assigned various mandates to the Minister for Grand Bahama, including partner with NGOs, businesses, other government agencies, and the community at large to assist with meeting the basic needs of residents and for the growth and development of Grand Bahama Island.
Minister Moxie noting that CoLab will position the Ministry for Grand Bahama and Grand Bahama Island to become the launch point of many of the commitments made to the Bahamian people in the Davis Cooper administration's Blueprint for Change, while sending a clarion call for business leaders to become a part of CoLab so that important issues can be addressed. Jamila Missick, ZNS Network News. In other news, the Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Darville, in Parliament today, outlining significant plans to improve health care on Grand Bahama. During his mid-year budget presentation, Dr. Darville giving the assurance that Grand Bahama's time has come. He says healthcare planners and architects are working closely to complete the design of a new state-of-the-art hospital for the island.
Shovel in the ground for that we are making steady progress and intend to break ground on this Northern Hospital at a new greenfield site. With partnership with the Beck Group, the Public Hospitals Authority, and the Ministry of Finance, we are seeking permits from the Grand Bahama Port Authority Technical Department prior to going into a brief RFP process and to award a contract to get shovel in the ground for this facility. I am particularly excited about this ambitious project that was promised to the people of Grand Bahama in our last term in office. Grand Bahama, your time has come.
Also getting a major upgrade will be the morgue facility at the Ram Memorial Hospital. He says reconstruction has commenced.
For too long, the Ram Memorial Hospital has wrestled with morgue facilities that have failed to keep pace with the growth and the need for our loved ones. Today, I am pleased to say that an RFP process went out and bids are in, and a contract will be awarded shortly for the renovations of the morgue, along with the completion of outstanding work in our radiology department, particularly mammography and other diagnostic equipment which have been out of service in much of the pandemic.
In addition to essential upgrades at the Ram Memorial Hospital, Dr. Darville adds that clinics in West End, 8 Mile Rock, Sweetings Key, and Hawksbill can expect improvements as well. Meanwhile, the Minister for Grants Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, making her contribution to the budget debate late yesterday. She says the Ministry of Grants Bahama has critical mandates under its portfolio that can move Grants Bahama forward, adding that under the Davis-Cooper administration, it is Grants Bahama's time. Romiko Knowles has more.
In her contribution to the mid-year budget, the Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, spoke in depth about the mandate given to her ministry, one of which includes the promotion of Grand Bahama Island. She says if the Ministry for Grand Bahama is mandated to revitalize and promote the island as a tourism and industrial center, then promotional material is needed.
Deputy Speaker, in the upcoming 2022-23 budget, we can expect there to be a line item reflective of this administration's New Day agenda for the promotion of the entire island of Grand Bahama from east to west. In conjunction with the member for the Exomas and Ragged Island, you will soon see new tourism promotional material promoting the things to do on Grand Bahama Island, because we have been intentional about changing the perception that there's nothing to do on Grand Bahama.
Exploring and highlighting the hidden gems of the island is only the first step, according to Moxie. She says they will also enhance aspects of the island that currently exist through a soon-to-be-launched micro-grant program called Empower Grand Bahama.
With this in mind, I am pleased to announce, again, Empower Grand Bahama, a $5,000 micro-grant program focused on creative entrepreneurs and tourism product enhancement. I wonder if we really understand the power of the creative industry, the power of the orange economy. These are our musicians, our artists, our artisans, our graphic designers, our DJs, our photographers, our culinary artists, our junkanooers and rake and scrapers, and authentic product providers. I believe that they play a significant role and will continue to play a role in revolutionizing our economy.
The initiative is said to enable Bahamian entrepreneurs who are focused on the development of tours and other attractions.
We will also provide some relief to the vendors at the farmers market downtown so that we can get all the stalls open back up who went through so much after Dorian and the pandemic. The grant is also for other straw vendors to provide authentic Bahamian products, and for new vendors of projects that will soon be launched to support the tourism product throughout the island.
Moxie envisions Grand Bahama as the gateway to the Caribbean and notes that it is poised to become the events and entertainment destination of the Bahamas. She says under the New Day government, it's Grand Bahama's time.
A time when we will see the road on West Sunrise Highway between the Royal Oasis reopened. The Grand Bahama's time. Yes, expect this very soon. A time when you will see action in the International Bazaar. The time has come when the island should not be held hostage by unsightly memories of what once was, and instead embrace new opportunities of today.
The minister says she is also working closely with the Minister of Agriculture to capitalize on the abundance of land available on the island for development.
It is indeed a new day, and new developments like AgriHaven will take agricultural development to the next level. This $430 million investment in East Lucaya is a self-sustainable and climate-smart eco-industrial agricultural development that will assist in increasing food security in the Bahamas. In our capital expenditure, we have committed to Farmers Market downtown refurbishment, Hawksbill Cultural Village, enhancement of the 8 Mile Rock Fish Fry, vendor booth opportunities at the Grand Bahama Arts and Crafts Center, and vendor booths at the Fishing Hole Cultural Village.
Moxie pointing out that in the Blueprint for Change, the government has committed to developing an oncology center. She says plans to break ground are scheduled for June of 2022. The redevelopment of the Grand Bahama International Airport is also a priority. Moxie says generators have been ordered for the existing facilities and notes that an elevator for the control tower is on its way. Now concerning the rehabilitation of West Grand Bahama, the Holmes Rock Junior High School will be ready for opening in September of 2022. The 8 Mile Rock Administration Complex is scheduled for completion in June of 2022. As for East Grand Bahama, the minister outlined several rehabilitation initiatives.
East Grand Bahama should also expect road patching, road signage, new roads, repairs to broken culvert, repairs to cemeteries, boat ramps and docks, reconstruction of government complex, refurbishment of school buildings, repairs to parks, construction of storm drains, and reconstruction of seawalls.
Ramiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Ramiko. The United Kingdom remains a close friend and ally of the Bahamas. Come next weekend, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge will undertake an official visit to the Bahamas to mark the occasion of Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. The Duke and Duchess, William and Kate, will have a packed schedule during their weekend visit to New Providence, Abaco, and Grand Bahama, March 24th through 26th. Ambassador to CARICOM, Her Excellency Leslie Miller-Bryce, and co-chair of the organizing committee, Jack Thompson, say during the visit to Abaco, the royals will see firsthand the effects of climate change and the impact of Hurricane Dorian.
The Duke and Duchess will see for themselves the impact from Hurricane Dorian and engage the Abaconians about the recovery efforts. We want them to appreciate firsthand the impact that climate change is having on our country and the need for carbon-producing countries to support us.
For its first time, they will visit the Daystar Church, and the pastors and some of the members of the church will just talk about the hurricane. This church is one of the many churches that would have been damaged by hurricane, but a lot of the churches were rebuilt since that time. They will also visit and have a demonstration of conch salad, how we prepare our native conch salad and so forth.
On Grand Bahama, they will also have an opportunity to visit the Grand Bahama Children's Home and Coral Vita, the world's first land-based coral farm, and the winner of the Global Earthshot Prize event.
The They will visit Coral Vita, which won the Duke's inaugural Earthshot Prize, which supports innovative solutions to the climate crisis. At COP26, the Bahamas began the process of projecting itself as a leading voice in efforts to address the impacts of climate change. Coral Vita is an example of what is possible and what is necessary for the protection of our environment and marine ecosystem.
In Grand Bahama, there will be the children's home is the main point there, and they will also visit, as we said earlier, Coral Vita. They will return to Nassau, and they will depart on Saturday afternoon. We have met with the recce team. The recce team came from London, and we had a number of options that we considered for this trip. We looked at a whole list of options, but at the end of the day, because of the limited time, we could only put in so many, a limited number of activities.
Stay with us. We'll be back right after this break.